What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Cantina Talk. So in today's video, we're going to be going over Sol and his relationship with Qimir. Is Sol Qimir's former master? What did Sol do to him? And why does Sol hate him so much? With episode 5, we not only learn the identity of the stranger, aka Qimir, which is also another alias, but we also learn something really interesting with this episode, and that is Qimir's connection with Sol. I mean, Qimir is literally wearing a helmet to block Sol from reading his thoughts, so if Qimir knew this, he would be familiar with Sol's force abilities. Quickly, before we continue, I would just like to ask that you like and subscribe. We are so close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, and my goal is to hit that by July 26th. But without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So there's a lot of interesting things with this episode, one of those being how Sol instantly recognized Qimir's fighting style and quickly picked up on who he was. If we take a look at this shot, just after Sol tells Yord to take the civilian to the ship, aka Osha, and force pushes her to him, Sol looks like he's almost about to cry, but more like he's upset and disappointed at what this person has become. If you look at his bottom lip, you can even see it start to quiver for a second or two. This is right before we cut to the intro. When we get back to them, Qimir calls Sol by name. Sol instantly changes his emotions and the way he's looking at Qimir and starts to approach him. Sol might not fully know that the stranger is Qimir yet, but he definitely knows it's him after asking, "Who are you?" and Qimir tells him, "You don't remember me." You can clearly see the recognition on Sol's face, and he knows who this is. This line is then followed up with, "I sense something familiar." If this isn't telling you already that these two know each other, then I don't know what is. If Sol can sense him like that, they previously had a close connection with one another. With that, Sol also comments, "You carry a Jedi weapon, but you are no Jedi." Now, when we were seeing this in the trailers, it made sense to believe that they didn't know each other, and that this was their first time meeting. But now, after this episode, it is more apparent that Sol is saying this as in, you were kicked out or left the Order, you were no longer a Jedi. So how and why are you carrying a lightsaber, aka a Jedi weapon? Personally, I don't think Sol wants to believe that the stranger is his former apprentice. When Sol tells him, "You trained me, show your face," the stranger replies with, "Let you read my thoughts? No, no, no." I think that this is the exact moment that Sol fully knows that this is his former apprentice, and that he will most likely have to kill him, and that is when we get the line, "What master hides his face from his pupil?" And following this, Qimir states, "You tell me." Now, I'm not too sure what happened here with Sol hiding his face. I don't really have a clue, and we will without a doubt find out next episode. With this, however, we can infer that something has previously happened between the two of them. My mind instantly goes to the scene in The Last Jedi, but obviously, if Sol's face was covered. Now, this by no means is to hate on Leslie Headland, but she had stated that she loves The Last Jedi. In The Last Jedi, we have the scene of Luke and Ben Solo, as Luke contemplates killing him because he can sense the inner darkness inside him and is fearful of what he could become. With that, I think something similar had happened with Sol and Qimir. Sol tried to harm him in some way, or had put him in harm's way in some shape or form, and or essentially left him for dead. I'm going to sound like something that Yord had mentioned quickly. Yord had stated to Osha, he doesn't follow the rules of combat. There is no method to his movements. It doesn't make sense. He gets into your head and he stays there. So with this, we know that Qimir is familiar with the Jedi fighting styles and knows their rules of combat, and blatantly doesn't follow them because he knows how they will react if he does. This makes him super unpredictable and also terrifying to them because they don't know how to counter any of his attacks. This once again adds more to the fact that Qimir was most likely once a Padawan. I think that if he was a full-blown Jedi and an adult, I think that Sol would have recognized him in episode 1 and 2. Towards the end of the scene, we get a line from Yord, and he says, "He gets in your head and he stays there." With that, Osha responds, "My mother could do that. Get inside a Jedi's head. I saw it once." We have seen this happen before in the prequels with Palpatine and Anakin. Plagueis had also done this in the past. This is a Sith trait. When Osha states that her mother has done this though, I think that is a correlation to the events of Brendok, where Torben's eyes go black and he drops to the floor. Osha would not have been privy to the Kanaka fight where this happens, so she wouldn't know about that instance. If you want to know more about that fight, go look in the top right hand of your screen now and watch that video. But with that, I full-heartedly believe that she is talking about Torben. I'll have more on Qimir possibly being a Jedi in just a little bit. When Qimir and Jeki start the fight, he states to May, "You can learn a lot from this Padawan. She is a loyal pupil." Qimir is almost impressed with Jeki and her sword fighting abilities. I also have to say that the Jeki and Qimir fights were insane. Daphne King went all out for these scenes, and it clearly shows. And I also love the score, bringing subtle sounds in from the prequels, along with Jeki using both sabers and using the reverse grip, and just like how Ahsoka would do in 110-ish years from now. It was extremely cool to see. The Sol and Jeki versus Qimir fight was also really cool. We got to see how powerful Qimir is, along with how skilled Jeki is in lightsaber combat. However, Jeki's aggression, a lot like Anakin's, would be her downfall. Jeki had just gotten too rageful when she jumped down. Yes, she knocked the back plate off Qimir's helmet, forcing it to fall apart, but then she ran in and left her entire body exposed as she tried to go for a killing blow. and this cost her her life. I also just want to quickly point out, it was cool to see Qimir split his saber like Cal Kestis had done in the Jedi games, as well as using Jarkai while killing Jeki. Along with this, Sol tells Qimir that she was a child, and his response is, "You brought her here." To me, this is not only Qimir rubbing the dirt in Sol's face, but also could be telling to an event that would have happened between the two of them when they were younger. Following this, Qimir force pulls May to him, and then Sol ignites his saber and attacks Qimir while his back is turned, prompting Qimir to say, "You attack me while my back is turned. Not very Jedi of you." Sol then struggles as he retracts his saber, and this is huge. If you don't know, the Jedi aren't supposed to attack an opponent while their back is turned. This is against the Jedi Code and is highly unethical because the Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. Now say what you will about the last part, but it's true. Sol shouldn't have acted upon his emotions and tried to kill Qimir while his back was turned. Sol did this out of pure anger and hate. This is why Sol throws down his saber. He knows he just did something that was against the Jedi Code. Sol then asks Qimir, "Who are you?" Not as in who are you, but what religion are you? Jedi, Sith, or something else? Qimir then responds with, "I have no name, but like the Jedi, you might call me Sith." Sol then says to Qimir, "What do you want?" And this is followed up with, freedom to wield my power the way I would like, without having to answer to Jedi like you. I want a pupil, an acolyte. So with this, if Qimir is saying that he wants a pupil, an acolyte, that isn't saying that he wants an apprentice, as in master and apprentice. This is saying he wants a follower. In Legends, this happened all the time. Darth Tenebrous had Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis had an apprentice to try and kill Tenebrous. There was multiple stories there where they all went back and forth trying to kill each other with multiple acolytes. Now this isn't breaking the rule of two. Qimir still has a master. Qimir is definitely the apprentice, but with that, he's looking for an acolyte, most likely to overthrow his current master. This is very important, and we will see more of this later on throughout the show. Qimir then follows up by saying that May exposed him, and now he has to kill every single last one of them, and that he doesn't make the rules. The Jedi do, and they say that he can't exist. They see my face, they all die. So this confirms right here that this isn't breaking canon at all. This is exactly what needs to happen, and they know this. So everyone can calm down a little bit now. Yord then comes in like a silverback gorilla.
Alright, but hurry up, she's in the fucking driveway, we got a flight to catch. Sith Lord, you do this on the day your brother's traveling? Oh, what are you doing running here like a silverback fucking gorilla?
We had to get him, didn't we, for Christ's sake?
Oh, yeah, you got him all right. You got him, pal.
And gets his neck snapped like a piece of celery. R.I.P. Yord. His death was insane to see, and was the first, and probably the last time that we will see that in Star Wars. This is when Sol and Qimir then go toe-to-toe in hand-to-hand combat, and Sol is very rageful and using his aggression here once again. Sol is able to overpower and defeat Qimir, but then grabs his saber and goes to surgically remove an extremity of Qimir's, and Osha stops him at the last minute. It is clear if you look at Sol's eyes that he had no clue what he was going to do until Osha had called out to him. I would like to call this the look of, "Oh shit, I was just about to turn this man's head into a bowl to eat out of." Qimir then asks Osha if she trusts him after everything that he has done to you. Sol quickly cuts him off and says that his mind is twisted by darkness. Qimir then rebuttals, "I have accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours?" This is when Sol retracts his saber and says that the Jedi do not attack the unarmed. Now Sol definitely was being truthful with this statement, but it was also because of the bugs. But Sol's darkness is definitely what we're going to be uncovering in the near future with episodes 6 and 7. After this, Osha asks Sol what he did and why Qimir would say that she shouldn't trust him. And she asks once again, "What did you do?" Sol then says, "Please, Osha, I'll explain," right before getting stunned by May. Following this, Qimir returns and finds Osha's body on the ground and says to her what extraordinary beings we are. And with this, it looks like Qimir goes and force heals one of Osha's wounds, which is very odd. Force healing isn't something that the Sith knew about or would have been taught. This is solely a Jedi trait. Qimir follows this up with, "Even in revelation of our triumph, we see our depth of despair," as he covers up Osha, and this is extremely telling. If Qimir knew how to force heal, he was 100% trained by the Jedi. I definitely believe that something happened between him and Sol, and from there Qimir made his way throughout the galaxy before finding a Sith Lord. However, that is a video for a whole different day. From everything between Sol and Qimir, it is even more obvious that they knew each other. Sol was easily Qmir's master, and something had happened between them, and Sol most likely thought that he was dead. There's a lot of hate towards one another, and we will definitely be finding out what truly happened between them. But to answer the question of, was Sol Qmir's master? Well, the answer is yes. This episode easily confirms it. And I definitely cannot wait to see where this story leads. But that is all I have for you all. I'm extremely excited for next week's episode to learn more about Qmir's backstory along with his relationship with Master Sol. I would love to hear from you all in the comments down below and what you think of this. Joe from Jar Jar Jargon and I will be going live again tomorrow evening for Cantina Jargon, so make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss that stream. But without further ado, I will see you all in the next one, and lastly, may the Force be with you all.